Wrestling with the Future. I am your host, Psychic Medium Angelo, joined as always by the guru who knew. He is the Encyclopedia Britannica of pro wrestling, Jeff the Ref Robinson. Hey, Jeff, how you doing, buddy?
Doing good. How about you, Angelo?
I am absolutely splendid this evening. I see on my screen, Jeff, we have a guest with us tonight, and we'll introduce him in just a moment.
All right.
Before I do, I got to ask you your opinion on a couple of matters of really importance this week in pro wrestling.
Yeah.
So Blanchard is blowing up social media. What's going
on? Basically, I mean, the hot take on it right now is she evidently said some very disparaging comments back in her day over in Japan and called a young lady the N-word who happened to be Puerto Rican. And it wasn't only confirmed by like only one or two sources. Multiple girls came out and talked about her bullying in the locker room and her not, basically her to sit there and say, can't we all get along? Let's, for the better good, for the better of all good. And then they're all kind of like, yeah, well, who are you to talk about, getting along with everybody? And
yeah,
I mean, timing could have been, you could look at it and go, timing wise, was it because she just got the Impact World Title, first female to have it?
I said that first thing that happened.
I thought that too, but then I mean the other part.
What's interesting though, Jeff, Tully's been real quiet on it.
Yep.
So has Magnum TA.
Yeah, Magnum TA has been quiet, other than supporting her as far as getting the run for the belt. So
our guest this evening, who has got a look of shock on his face. I'm going to bring him in right now for his opinion on this. This is Mike Kelleher, and he is the host of the upcoming PBS program, Legacy List. Mike, thanks for joining the show tonight. I got to ask your opinion on this. You follow wrestling, you know what's going on. What do you think?
Yeah, I first of all, thank you for having me on the show.
Quite welcome.
I love you guys. Great podcast.
Thank you.
But this whole thing, I only just heard about this. It just happened, and so I was reading about it the other day, and I think there's enough people that are corroborating this story that it's more than just one person who got slighted or was in some way, shape, or form jealous. Like I think there's some real meat to this issue here, and it's really interesting to me to see what NWA is going to do now that this information is coming out.
Well, Jeff, what's the take on the NWA end?
No, she's with TNA Impact or old TNA.
Oh, Impact, that's right.
From all indications, Don Callis and everybody that is part of TNA or Impact they've been mums the word on it. They haven't really said anything about it.
Jeff, why are they keeping quiet?
I think it's, if we say anything in support of her, then it looks like we supported what she did. If we keep our mouth shut, then it's, let her handle it on her own. They don't really have a PR department to spin anything. They're not the WWE and the big machine to where they can put the spin on it and make it up.
Well, Jeff, do you think also they just had this monumentous thing happen? The first woman to win the men's title.
Yeah,
I think Mike just put his finger on it.
I think that has a lot to do with it. I think that there are females out there that wanted that or thought that they may deserve it, or I would have gone with that too, except for you have people like Chelsea Green, who is the girlfriend of Zack Ryder over in the WWE. Mm-hmm. What does she gain by coming out and saying anything at all? I mean,
well, she's got nothing to gain unless it's the truth.
Yeah, I mean, so
that makes the argument stronger for me, actually.
Yeah,
exactly.
I'm in agreement with you, and honestly, if I were I would not be surprised, depending on how far this slippery slope it goes down. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't be surprised if they honestly don't take the belt off of her. I mean, in a matter of by the next set of tapings or anything.
Yeah.
Just because I mean, okay, she had such an attitude problem back when she had 2 tryouts with the WWE at the Mae Young Classic.
Right.
And they didn't hire because they said your
attitude. Well, Jeff, you know, Tommy Dreamer had an interesting take on it yesterday on Busted Open. He said, you know, oftentimes in the heat of battle, things are said in the locker room that you wish on an instant you could take back.
Yep.
And I tend, and I know what you're saying, and I absolutely agree with what Mike is saying. I believe he's more right than probably both of us.
Yep.
And I said at the time, and you know, I shared this with you, there's a great deal of professional jealousy among the women because they're fighting for spots, Mike, you know?
Yeah. Well, the other part of it is TNA, they could look at this 2 ways. Number one, we'll take any press we can get because it gets people interested in TNA because people will tune in to see what TNA does with this whole issue.
That's what Jeff said today.
Yep. It's almost like any press is good press.
Yeah, which is a shame because if this is true, and there's only a few people that really know if this did happen.
Right.
Yeah.
If it's true. You know, it's absolutely terrible. And, you know, there needs to be something that happens to make it right.
And we can't lose sight of the fact, and let's all 3 of us realize we're talking about professional wrestling, okay? This is a very different animal than, let's say, if the head of a company said something.
Yep, sure.
Okay? This is pro wrestling, and it's all, let's be honest about it, it's all about the work and it's all about the ratings.
Yeah.
This is going to get them eyeballs, good, bad, or indifferent, it's going to get them eyeballs.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, as Eric Bischoff once is quoted as saying, it's the name of his book, Controversy Creates Cash.
Cash, yeah.
And, you know, the other thing is, it kind of is, in addition to what Tommy Dreamer said, it's actually what Jim Cornette had said. He said, basically, in the heat of the moment, he said, for all you know, she could have gotten potato. The other girl may not have been cooperating in the ring like, you know, she was expecting. Any number of things, got caught up and was like, hey, who are you? The fact that she spit in her face and then turned around and used a racist remark, that's kind of...
I actually heard Cornette's take on it today, and he said that's about basically what he said.
Yeah.
Let's switch to another subject that because we could go down the rabbit hole with this one. Let's switch gears to WWE, particularly the current COO. And I say current COO because you never know what could happen in pro wrestling, especially if Vince McMahon gets a bug up his ass.
Yeah.
So, Jeff, fill everybody in on the goings-on of one Paul Levesque, Triple H.
Well, now this is what I need to be corrected on. If you do know this, Angelo, I don't. He was evidently given a press conference of some sorts on a telephone conference.
He was.
And he was asked, they were asking him about wrestlers coming back from injury, and somebody mentioned Daniel Bryan, and he said Daniel Bryan was a unique, special case. Daniel Bryan pursued everything, every avenue he had to get back into the shape that he needed to be in. In fact, he went so far as to prove the doctors who were saying he couldn't wrestle, he showed them that he was able to, you know, he met all their criteria so that he could get cleared.
Yeah.
And Triple H said he had told Daniel Bryan just like he would tell anybody else, because Daniel made it clear to them, if you guys don't clear me, I have other options. Mm-hmm. And he knew AEW was on the horizon. He knew New Japan was out there. He could have always gone back to ROH.
He would have killed in New Japan or AEW.
Well, especially Mike, since he had been there already.
Yeah.
So he knew that he could go, and he told him that. And Triple H said, that's fine and dandy, but you got to, you know, one thing you do need to consider is you got a family now. You got a wife and kid. And kids. And the last thing we want you to do is get injured or see you get injured either permanently or die.
Yeah, and I understand the looking out for him. So Daniel Bryan took the appropriate steps. He stayed out. He was out quite a while.
3 years.
Yeah. So when he was medically cleared, and the doctors allowed him back in. Only then did he wrestle.
Correct.
Now let's consider other wrestlers who have had injuries.
And that takes us to y'all remember when Daniel Bryan came back and he took some really hard bumps.
He did.
Oh yeah, sure.
I remember one he took. I think it was a Kevin Owens slam on the side of the ring.
He took the apron bomb.
Yeah, on the ring apron. Yeah.
Oh my gosh! I thought this is crazy. Why is he even tempting fate like this?
Yeah, they're actually calling that move the coffin drop.
No. The coffin drops what Darby Allin does in AEW, where he does that.
I'm sorry. I stand corrected. I'm sorry. You're right. I thought that was the coffin drop.
No, they call Kevin Owens because he power bombs him on the apron, just the apron bomb. I mean, just the
okay.
Hey,
sounds good
to me. That's just to put into context where the phone call or what was going on the press conference.
Okay.
Then they said, somebody had said, what about Edge? What about Paige? Would you okay them to come back?
Yeah. Well, let's get into what he said.
And Triple H said, I would advise Edge, that he has kids, and Paige, if she knows of any. And then he went down an even slippery slope, more slippery, and he said, be it is that she's promiscuous and everything.
Yeah.
And it was
what he exactly said was she tends to be a bit promiscuous.
Yeah. Okay.
Not
Mike's over here laughing.
Well, like she wouldn't know if she had kids.
There you go. Exactly.
The outlash at that was immediate and swift.
And I think it's like what when me and Angelo, we were talking about earlier, as I said, if you watch it, Triple H almost kind of cringes after he even says the comment of like, oh shit, why'd I go there?
He wanted to take it back, but it was already out. You can't unring a bell.
And I mean, and Angelo would know this. And I mean, Mike, you probably even have heard guys, if you know of a guy who may be a player of some sort, sometimes they make the comment of, yeah, how many kids do you actually not know about out there or whatever? You know what I mean? Like,
right.
And it's an offhanded comment, but guys tend to get a pass. Now, a girl saying that about a girl, I'm with Mike. It is kind of laughable at best because how would you not know you had a kid?
Yeah.
Right. I should point out to people, we're talking about Paige. For the record, I want to tell everyone that I spoke to Paige's mother today, Shariah Knight.
Yes, you did.
And she will be a guest on our show in about 3 weeks. She committed to that on New Year's Day. I caught her on a good day. I will tell you that she is none too happy to hear that her daughter is allegedly promiscuous coming from the mouth of the CEO of WWE.
I don't think that he should have said it. I think that he probably needs to issue even a public apology. But then again, you got some people who say, at what point are you got to look at it as what you knew he was joking around. He took a joke a little too far, and in wrestling, so to say, you got to have a thick skin. I mean,
here's the thing too, Jeff. We just saw it a month and a half ago with Jim Cornette.
Yep.
Make a joke that ended up getting him fired.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
well, the thing of it is too, we're in different times. Like if this was the 80s or 90s,
two different stories.
Yeah, easily get away with it.
Yeah. So I think he was just not really being sensitive to today's culture, and behind the scenes in the locker room, maybe that's how they joke around. But when you're on a conference call with the media, that's probably not a good thing to say.
No, probably not once. Knowing they're being recorded.
Can I give you one little weird fact I learned about Triple H today?
What's that?
Triple H is, according to my research, straight edge.
That is actually true.
I never heard that.
That was actually one of the main reasons why that when he became part of the clique with X-Pac and Scott Hall and Kevin Nash and Shawn, because they were all drinkers and partiers and pill poppers.
Well, you know what, Jeff? I thought he was a party guy, to be honest with you.
He never, he was, they said at most, if anything, he may sip a glass of wine, like one glass a night, and just kind of have it there to more or less as a prop.
Like milking it, basically.
He was their babysitter and their driver. So,
okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't aware of that. I thought he was like, balls to the walls, party hard, drink hard.
At least during the DX days, that would have been the case, that he would be going out and having some fun. But hey, I read it on the internet. It's got to be.
That's true, Mike. Yeah.
No,
everything that you hear and read on the internet is true. So, given that fact, and it is a fact, of course, because it's on the net.
Yeah.
So, Jeff, tell me what else is going on in the world of wrestling that you gleaned from the sources.
Man, I would really say that's pretty much been the big hoopla right now has just been those two big incidents, with Tessa winning the world title, which should not have been overshadowed by what she had done. Unfortunately, it is. I think that, the the other thing is, you got Royal Rumble coming up here in 2 weeks.
Right.
That's going to be kind of interesting where they go with that, because Brock Lesnar's right now entering in that.
At number one.
And where are they going with that? I don't know. Go ahead, Mike.
Oh, no. Well, I've got a few things I wanted to say about Rumble. But before that, there's something, and this is going to tie into some old history between me and the ref here. But, there's a certain promotion out there known as the National Wrestling Alliance, NWA.
Yes,
and I saw the Rock and Roll Express win the tag team belts. That's insane.
For the 9th time.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what, back in the day, there were 2 Rock and Roll Express fans above all others. And that was me and the ref.
Yes, sir.
Did Jeff ever tell you the story? Ricky and Robert stayed in my house for 2 days.
I did not tell that one.
Yeah. I brought him up for a show we had here for Superstar Billy Graham. It was actually a benefit show.
Oh, wow.
And they did a full day of signing and photo ops.
Mm-hmm.
And then they spent the next day at the arena with more photo ops and signings, and then did the show that night. So I got to hang out with Hoot and Ricky for 2 days, and all they did was drink and smoke.
I bet.
Well, we ain't gonna say what Robert may have been smoking.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I just got to say, like, I appreciate on a lot of different levels what the NWA is doing, and the fact that they would kind of pay homage to one of the legendary tag teams. Maybe it was a gift or whatever you want to call it, but I saw them do the double drop kick. Now, I've seen them at indie shows in the past 5 years. They weren't doing the double drop kick.
You want me to tell you what's up with that? I actually found this out from Ricky and Robert himself when we brought them in. When we brought them in, we were asking were they going to do the double drop kick as a finisher. My promoter wanted to see that. The guys have actually got to be a certain height. Otherwise, Robert will actually literally drop kick over their heads still to this day. You can get that kind of height. So if they're like not above like 5'10" or 11, he can't do it.
Oh, wow.
Right.
Otherwise, he's going to go over top of their head.
That's absolutely true, Mike.
And that's at a standing leap. That man can still do that.
Yeah.
So,
he's 61 years old.
And you got Ricky at 62 doing planches through the rope and doing Canadian destroyers. That is insane.
What's up with that? That's crazy.
Because, well, you know what he said? He was like, if I got the right opponent, I can do it.
Yeah.
And he said, but part of the thing was, on the indies, he was like, somebody who may go on the indies may say, I've got 5 years under my belt. Okay, how many matches and who all have you faced?
Well, you know who he can thank for that, right?
Who?
His son.
Yeah. Kerry definitely has.
His son taught him that move.
Well, he's one. I mean, and the kids there in his training school. I mean,
exactly.
They, but do you? I was going to ask Mike. Do you watch the new NWA that comes on YouTube?
Yeah, I'm an episode or two behind, but I saw them win the belts, and then I've been trying to keep up on the like updates online. But I haven't watched the newest, at least one episode. I'm at least one behind.
You know what I love about the NWA right now? And you're going to laugh when I say this. It's not even the wrestling. It's the aesthetics. It's the look, the visual.
Yes. They remind me of
the old studio.
Yeah.
Now,
I'll tell you what, Billy Corgan and his team spared no expense to convert that television studio to that old Georgia TBS studio back in the day. It looks just like it.
I mean, how many times did we see interviews right off of the side of the ring, and then they spill right into the ring? Oh, my God.
I mean, back in the day when TBS was the staple for us as young guys growing up and watching, that was literally how you saw your storylines progress, was on a Saturday night. And on Worldwide and NWA Pro during the Saturday afternoons. And then it was, that's what drove you to your house shows and everything else.
Yeah.
That fans these days don't get a part of, because they got so much filler that they got to use.
Oh my God, sure.
Well, let's not forget, NWA is an hour, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Whereas, how many hours of program? I think WWE has like 7 hours of programming every week.
7 hours a week, yeah.
If you actually count NXT, they're at 9.
Okay,
no,
yeah.
Right, yeah.
Seven, sorry. 7.
Yeah, 7.
Either way, it's a lot of time to fill up.
Sure it is.
Right.
And it sucks because even with 9 hours of airtime, you're still only showing a small fraction of your roster.
Well, sure. And how much of that time is dedicated to ads and promos?
Oh.
Way too much promo time. A lot of wasted airtime.
You look at AEW.
You know what? If Vince McMahon can afford it, God bless him.
Well, I was going to say, but you look at even AEW right now, who have a roster well-known of almost 40 guys. And out of those 40, we've only seen maybe 15 or 20.
Exactly, Jeff.
So,
I'll give them a pass, because I think they might just be trying to get a few core storylines started, and then after a few months, really start bringing in the supporting cast.
Well, I think
you have to remember that NWA is really, really new.
Yeah.
It's really old, but really new.
Yep. NWA is old in the fact that they got the name.
Yeah.
And they want that nostalgic feel, which they got. I mean, with the audience, the studio audience, all of that. So, I mean, I'm just waiting to hear Dusty coming in. Listen here, baby, we'll go down the live and look at the Army and Atlanta. Me and Ricky Flair.
Hard times.
Well, I won't tell you what, Jeff. We'll get back to talking about wrestling later on in the show, but you brought Mike in. Again, I want to introduce everyone to Mike Kelleher. He is the host of the upcoming PBS program. Hold on there, ref.
Well, hey, Angelo, I do want to correct you. I am technically not the host of the show. I am on the show, but the host is Matt Paxon.
Oh, Matt's the host.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Mike's the expert.
Okay, so now you're the item expert?
Yeah, I'm a stuff expert is what I call it.
Okay, gotcha. Okay. So Mike Kelleher, and the show is Legacy List.
With Matt Paxon.
And again, Matt Paxon, for those of you who didn't hear earlier, is my wife and sister-in-law's favorite television personality, because they are addicted to Hoarders. And of course, Matt was a member of that show for ages.
Yeah.
Now, you have a connection with Jeff the Ref, so what I'm going to do, Jeff, is I'm going to turn this over to you.
Okay.
I got you through the hard part, kid. Now, it's all up to you. Tell me how you and this bona fide television star know each other. Because I'm like still in shock right now.
Me and Mike go back all the way back to my third grade year, his third grade year as well.
We weren't in the same class, were we?
Yeah, we were. We had Mrs. Fish.
Miss Fish, okay.
Yep.
Oh my God.
and
don't you love it when you still remember the names of your teachers from the third grade?
She was hot, dude. I'll tell you what.
She was she was a bombshell for a teacher, and she was definitely that hot for teacher, that they wrote, Van Halen wrote the song about. So
yeah, well, I had Sister Angela Francis. Okay, I went to Catholic school. But
me and Mike, we went. Actually, where we met was you were playing rec league soccer. You guys had just, I guess, moved into your house over there in the area, and you had joined up you were on my team, and then, my mom being a single mom, your mom was a brand new single mom at the time, and they got to talking. Me and you had hit it off, and next thing you know it was like, okay, I think it was like every weekend basis up until we were probably in junior high almost. We were found at each other's house or, hanging out, whether it was many a Saturday, Friday night spent,
Now, let me take a guess. You guys were watching wrestling.
Of course.
Oh.
Our Friday nights consisted of going to the video store, renting a wrestling video, renting a video game, staying up until 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, waking up Saturday morning, watching cartoons, watching wrestling, probably going to have a match or two, get yelled at by our moms. Yeah. And
that's funny.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like those are memories that I definitely have. And, I actually made some notes about this because I didn't want to leave anything out, but, Jeff and I, like, we were like Mutt and Jeff. We hung out, peanut butter and jelly.
Yep.
You could not have one without the other. And it was, I'll tell you what, if the listeners of your show don't learn anything else about the ref, it's that if he's your friend, it doesn't matter what the odds are or who it is that's trying to mess with you. Jeff the ref has got your back. And I mean that.
Appreciate
and it's
that.
not, there was a story I'm going to share a little later, but it ties back to the Rock and Roll Express. So anyway.
Oh, yes.
Can't wait to hear that one.
Oh, yeah, it's a good one. Well, Jeff and I, like, we didn't live far apart. So a lot of times either we'd get dropped off at the other person's house or ride bikes over or whatever. And, I have so many good memories of hanging out with Jeff. Because, like, when we were young, I knew of wrestling. I watched wrestling. But when I started hanging out with Jeff, it just kind of like...
It took you to a whole nother level.
Yeah. And so we would have like hangouts or sleepovers, and we would be probably mimicking what was on TV. Mm-hmm. And then whoever lost the match was the commentator and had to interview the winner.
Yep.
And I actually remember recording those on cassettes. And
wow!
Thank God I could find one, but I think
I would love to hear that stuff.
I can remember us one time. It was during the Barry Windham Ric Flair. They had the 45-minute classic that was aired on TV, and me and Mike had a full-on match. Me and him were having a match, watching a match.
Yeah. It was awesome.
It's funny.
That's how we were for a long, long time. And then, what was really cool was whenever there was a pay-per-view, I'd say 90% of the time, him and his mom would get the pay-per-view.
Yep. And
Little Caesar's Pizza, and we'd be over there. There'd be some kids there, and Jeff's awesome granddad. And we'd all be having fun. If we got a little too loud, Grandpop would. But It was great. I mean, so many. Like, I wouldn't have been able to watch those pay-per-views otherwise. And it was like as I was reflecting back, getting ready to come on your show. Like, that was one of the things that I was like, you know what? I was really lucky to have had that experience.
So Jeff, Grandpa put the kibosh on you, huh?
Oh yeah.
He would. You guys think about it. I mean, you had probably anywhere between 6 to 8 or more 12 to 13-year-old boys.
Oh my God!
And
now,
yeah,
and we would get to watching wrestling and hooting and hollering and just, and all of a sudden, as soon as, I mean, a minute, Grandpa was like, "Boys, that's enough." Boom! Everybody froze, sat down, shut up.
You could have heard a pin drop.
I mean, for like a good half hour, we were quiet. I mean,
I was afraid to get up to go to the bathroom at that point.
There you go. Yeah, I mean, like when Sting won the world title from Ric Flair, we were all, I mean, throwing pillows in the air and just going nuts. And Grandpa was like, "Boys!"
So, Mike, let me ask you a question. When Jeff would take you to a live show, was he the kind of guy that you had to quiet down so you wouldn't get thrown out?
Well, I'll tell you what. There's some early memories I have. I'll tell you, before I get to that, my first memory of going to a live show was at the Scope. All right.
The Norfolk Scope.
Norfolk Scope. And we saw Dusty Rhodes, Chief Wahoo McDaniel, Magnum PA. I want to say Ric Flair and
our guest Thursday, Baby Doll.
Yeah. Right.
Oh,
yeah.
Baby Doll was on the show. All right.
That was a killer show. And then, but Jeff and I, somehow or another, we convinced our parents to let us just drop us off to some show. I don't know what I mean,
that's probably 14 or 15.
Yeah. So we seemed responsible, right? No.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. One time we went to a show it was probably again at the Scope, and I think it was War Games, or some other big. It was a big event of some sort. Or maybe it was Great American Bash. Anyway, whatever it was, I'll tell you what. Somebody in the crowd was throwing ice at Ric Flair. I don't know if they ever caught that person or not, but it's crazy how fans act. And I just hope that person got some help somewhere along.
Jeff, how much of your ice did you empty out of your cup?
I don't know if I was,
I'm not saying it was anybody in particular. I'm just saying somebody.
He's just got a guilty look on his face right now.
Well, I mean, there was. I know of one time, me and Mike, we were delivering newspapers at the same time, and they used to run contests. And one of the contests that they would run when the WCW would come here, right? If you got a certain number of subscriptions, you were allowed to go to the event for free. And and Mike just so happened to have a really nice looking paper route manager who me and him definitely did not mind going along for a ride with anywhere she needed. We were all hands on deck. And so she would take us and drop us off in the neighborhood, and we'd go around and we would get our subscriptions for the, people to sign up for the Virginia Pilot, the local paper. Yeah. And then we get our tickets for the wrestling show. And they would allow it. And this is back when WCW, this is right around 93, 94-ish. They were hurting for business. So
sure.
Instead of us having to be in the rafters and the nosebleeds, they move us all the way down to the floor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, to fill up the bottom.
But it wasn't even for TV. I mean, you're talking like a house show that, you talk about kind of sad times was you went from when we would go back in 86, 87, 88-ish, Scope was selling out at 10,000 people.
Yeah,
and
right.
At this point, they're struggling to put maybe 1,000 in there. So I mean, Mike went to the one and only NXT show that came to Norfolk. He went with me to that.
Yep. He was better paid.
Here. We went. Oscar was there.
Yep.
Okay.
Shinsuke Nakamura.
Yep.
I love Nakamura.
Bobby Roode.
You know, I liked Nakamura way better in New Japan.
Yeah.
I don't
They
think
sanitized him, Mike. That's the problem.
I don't think he sells his moves well at all. I think he just like his kicks and stuff. Like people say, "Oh, his kicks." I don't buy it. I think most of his moves look really, really weak.
They sanitized him.
Well,
Yeah.
It's you went from somebody who was told you got 30 minutes plus to do what you want in the ring to you got 10 minutes along with a 5-minute entrance.
Yeah.
Now you got to get your shit in. And
well, his entrance used to be 9 minutes long.
Yeah.
shit.
He'd have the violins, the guitars playing.
Yeah, with fiddle players and guitarists. Yeah, there was a friggin' orchestra leading him down to the ring.
Well, there was who's that female with guitars that played as the entrance at one time?
Oh, Lita Ford.
No.
It wasn't Lita Ford.
Lita Ford?
No, it's a newer female guitarist.
Is that the girl that's with Mick Foley now?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, what the hell is her name? Shit.
I thought Mike may remember that one.
Is it the woman? Is she in a band?
Yeah.
Yes.
No, she's a single. She's a one woman. She's more like a Lita Ford.
No, she plays in a band though, Jeff.
Is it Hailstorm?
No.
No, not Hailstorm.
Yeah, I don't know who it is.
Is it Liz?
She plays in a well-known band too, and I can't remember the band, and I can't remember her name.
Anyway,
she's really good. She's a type.
Very talented.
Well,
go ahead, Mike.
No. I'm just gonna say, like, if you ever get the opportunity to go to a live event with the ref, you will get a different perspective than you ever could have imagined.
Take bail money with me.
Yeah, it's more life-altering than a 10-day trip to Europe, as college basketball commentator is known to say.
Yeah, they. I enjoy my wrestling, and I mean, as a kid, as a young man, I mean, me and Mike, we definitely had some good times. Now, Mike, do you remember this? It was a Royal Rumble. It may have been the year that Flair won it, but I'm not sure. Anyway, we had a good group of us around, and definitely the testosterone was flowing because the next thing you know is we were in a full-on Royal Rumble outside of my front yard with the big fence. And I mean, to the point where my mom was like, "Oh my gosh," thinking like there was a riot going to break out in her front yard. I mean, because we were all just going at it. I mean, just
I don't remember who was there, but I vaguely remember something like that happening, and it's not surprising at all. So
no, it was those were just. I mean, what my mom put up with for me as a young man and a wrestling fan is insane.
Mama Ref is a saint.
Exactly. So, Mike, let's talk about how you got involved in this television project. Had you ever done television before?
No, I've never been on TV before, but it's kind of it's a bittersweet story. I was in the insurance industry for years, and I sold insurance, and then I moved into underwriting, and then the company I was working for was relocating our department and a bunch of other people's job functions to Ohio. Okay. And I said, I'm not moving to Ohio. Sorry.
Yeah.
So the last day I was in the office, I found out either that day or the next day that my aunt had passed away in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Got it.
So I was making arrangements to go to Charlotte to go to her funeral. My mom lived in Virginia Beach, and she was making arrangements to head down there too. Well, long story short, saw my mom at the funeral for my aunt, and then my mom, who had real bad rheumatoid arthritis, she ended up falling that weekend, and then about 3-4 days later, she passed away.
Yeah.
And
my condolences.
Thank you. And I promise this story isn't a downer, but it was very, very tough. So I spent the next 8 months, 6 days a week, 2 hours from my home in Richmond, basically going through the house, finding the things that were important to me and my sister, cleaning, sorting, packing, fixing, dealing with contractors, doing everything that needed to happen in order to get that house ready for sale.
Right.
So I came back to Richmond after that, and then all of the jobs that I was qualified for had already been claimed by my teammates who had a 8-month head start on me.
Sure.
I really wasn't having much luck finding work. And I was at a New Year's Eve party and ran into Matt Paxon. And he was talking to my wife, and remind me, Angelo, we're going to talk about my wife because I think you and her have a few things in common. But so he was talking to my wife, and he was saying, "Yeah, I just started this company. We're helping people settle estates and downsize and do all this other stuff." And she just kept saying, "You should talk to Mike. He just went through this with his mom." And then he goes, "Yeah, but I need somebody that can sell." And she goes, "You need to talk to Mike. I need somebody that's good with people. You need to talk to Mike." So finally, I got in front of Matt, got a job, worked with him for a few years.
Right.
We were doing everything from hoarding cleanouts to estate settlement to just simple downsizing, decluttering, and moving.
Right.
So a year and 5 days ago, give or take, I was actually laid off by that company. But the crazy thing is, about 2 months before, or actually a month before I was laid off, we filmed a pilot for a TV show based on some of the families that we met. And it's all about telling the story of the family through the items we find in their home.
I love it.
It's great. But all we had was a concept. And so we filmed this pilot, and we didn't know if anything was going to happen with it. But we did it. We did a really good job. And so we were shopping it around. I got laid off. And then really that's the only thing that I think saved me was the fact that I was a pilot. Because they could not go back and recreate that house that we have already emptied.
Yeah.
The lady's already moved out of.
Yeah. It sounds like it really sounds like more than just fate was on your side. It sounds like you were divinely directed because the pilot found you. You didn't have to really go looking for it.
Yeah. It's crazy because I've been buying, selling, and trading collectibles for over 30 years.
Now, Mike, do you consider yourself an appraiser, an evaluator? How would you define what you do?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, I'm not a certified appraiser, but I'm somebody who sees the trends in the market, who sees a lot of the items that are out there and really has a feel for what they're worth. And so I never advertise myself as an appraiser, but I'm somebody who can walk into your house and I'll find $100 worth of stuff that you didn't even realize you had just in your kitchen. It's one of these things, like finding the things that people don't realize have value, or maybe.
And that's what always surprises me, Mike, about what people throw away. And it's true what they say about, one man's trash is another man's treasure.
Yep. Oh, absolutely.
I remember watching years ago on an episode of Antique Roadshow where a guy found a 3-legged table on the sidewalk. So he picked it up. He cleaned it off. He didn't do any restoration. He just cleaned it up and took it to the road show. Come to find out, it was a Louis XIV side table that was valued at $540,000.
And those
on the side of the road. Think about that. On the side of the road.
I got a question for you, Mike.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jeff.
What would you say right now is probably like some of the hottest trending items out there that people may have them in their house to kind of look for? I mean, I know like 80s nostalgic is big with kids our age and a little bit older.
Well, Jeff, I would say, actually, I'm going to answer your question and then I'm going to flip it. So some of the hottest things right now are mid-century furniture and decoration. So furniture from the 40s, 50s, 60s, all of that stuff. It has that certain look to it. It's really hot.
Yeah.
aside from that, vinyl records are huge right now. I mean, just where I live alone, there's, I think, 11 record shops.
Holy cow.
Wow.
Yeah. Whereas, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, there might have been 2 or 3.
I'm going to blow your mind, Mike.
Yeah.
I have an extensive collection of vinyl, and I have a full, complete set of Elvis Presley albums, 2 of them signed.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Hey, man, that's awesome.
Boys?
I'm going to come over and we're going to listen to some records.
Got to go to Jersey.
Oh, sweet.
You got to come to New Jersey.
All right, well, I'll do that. Well, now, Jeff,
Not some money because I'll take you to the casino.
Let's go.
Go ahead, Mike.
Jeff, you asked about things that were hot today.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to flip that. Things that were hot a decade or 2 ago that definitely are not hot today. Brown furniture. So your mothers and your grandmothers' china cabinets and dining room tables and huh? What'd you say?
Zip.
Yep. It's very hard to sell those. I had a house that I helped basically liquidate the contents of, and there were 7 china cabinets.
Mm.
And by the end of it, like, I sold 1 china cabinet for $5, and I was happy to get $5.
I will absolutely attest to that. My mother has a china cabinet in her sewing room that I had on both eBay, Craigslist, and some other Angie's List or some other list.
Mm-hmm.
It sat there for 8 months without ever being looked at.
Yeah.
At $100. It's so, and now she's using it for storage.
Yeah, that's what people use them for these
You can't get
days.
rid of stuff like that.
I'm sorry?
You can't get rid of stuff like that. There's no market for it.
Well, and the thing that people don't realize, they'll say, oh, well, we'll just donate it. Well, go ahead and drop it off at the Salvation Army or the Goodwill and see if they accept it. They ain't going to take it because it takes up too much real estate in the store.
Exactly.
So a lot of that stuff is just ending up straight in the landfill.
Okay. I got a couple of mystery packages here.
Oh, yes. Now, let me set this up, Jeff. Let me set this up for people that are listening and those watching on YouTube. Okay. A few days ago, Mike Kelleher sent sealed packages to the home of Jeff the Ref Robinson. Jeff was given explicit instructions not to open them until he did it on the air, on the show. So we are on the air. Jeff, you have the floor. I hope you have a knife or something to open that box with.
I do. Now, what do I need to open first? Either or?
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
For those listening on our media platforms, there's a flat brown box and a large white box.
Okay, we're going to open the white box here.
All right, opening the white box first.
And in it, oh, man. Macho Man Randy Savage.
Oh, my God, a Macho Man Savage doll.
Figure.
Robe.
Ooh,
yeah. Complete with the sequin.
Yeah. There it is.
Never opened. But
that's beautiful. That looks like it's in mint condition.
It is mint. And
wow.
This thing is gorgeous.
All right.
Thank you, Mike.
You're welcome.
So much.
You're welcome.
That is, wow. That is awesome.
Well, for those of you that don't know, and I hope I'm not like telling your business, Jeff used to have like a ridiculous wrestling memorabilia collection that got.
You're not telling my business.
Heard.
So hopefully this is something.
Shot it often.
Hopefully this is something that.
Gosh, what is it? You got
hang on. I might show that or I might not show that one on the air. Wow. Okay, hang on. I'm getting into this.
In nature.
It is a picture that may or may not incriminate the ref. Here we go.
Let me see it. Go ahead.
Can you see it? Can you make it out?
My God, yeah.
That is.
What is that? A sling your arm is in?
No, no. I'm in a dress, and that is Mike holding up a skull of some sorts in a pot.
Okay, I see that.
Lunch lady with
and
Jeff the ref wearing a shirt. You know what? You're a very attractive older woman, Jeff.
Thank you. What that was for a Halloween party.
It looks like Ma Kettle.
It was a Halloween party that we went to that a friend of ours was having.
And who's that party?
Jennifer,
okay.
Stan.
Okay.
Gordon's.
Yeah.
I love it.
Rest in peace.
And now we're getting into the.
Jeff, do you own any vinyl?
Oh my gosh! Holy hell!
Do you own any records, Jeff?
I do not.
Well, good. I'm glad this is your first.
Oh, the wrestling album. Where the hell did you find that?
I dig and dig and dig and dig.
That, Mike, if I could give you a hug right now, I would. So on the air hug there. But
for those of you who cannot see this on YouTube, Jeff is
the original wrestling album, or the original wrestling album that they put out called The Wrestling Album, the very first.
And that's the one with Land of 1,000 Dances on it.
Yes. And
that's the one.
Oh man.
And you remember, like on
to be priceless right now.
Huh?
That has to be priceless right now.
Oh,
to
probably
me it is.
But I remember Saturday mornings seeing them play some of those songs.
Yes.
And it was just a lot of fun. So I saw that and I said, you know what? One day this is going to Jeff the ref. And there you go, buddy.
You oh my gosh.
That's pretty amazing stuff, brother.
That was yeah. Not to mention the picture fine there. That's oh my god.
He has a Hogan pillow buddy.
Yes.
What you gonna do, brother?
That is one of the original.
That's a wrestling buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
A Hulk Hogan wrestling buddy.
Yeah, I don't support Hulk Hogan anymore, but this is classic. And
you know what, Mike? You can still find them, but not like that. There's a different design and they're smaller.
And well, that's the original right there. That's the
original, yeah, for sure. Oh, I recognize that.
Yeah, I'll stand them up here. So
there now Mike also has
wearing the belt in that one.
You have the Ultimate Warrior merch.
I'm not asking you. I want to say
have it.
Knee pads.
You have what?
I want to say I have knee pads that were the Warriors knee pads.
Yeah, and you got them, and they actually have the letter from his wife saying about
Dana Warrior.
Yep. So
sure do.
I'll tell you my connection to Macho Man Savage.
Oh yeah, let's hear it.
My ex-wife used to make his glasses.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
All the sunglasses he came to the ring with.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That is, and that's the beautiful thing about wrestling. I don't know it still happens on some level today, I'm sure, but like I think a lot more of it is handled in-house than it was. So like back in the day, like the lady that was making Ric Flair's robes or like they were just a seamstress. And whatever it was that they did, they were just they were just taking another order, and then all of a sudden this person blows up. And there you go.
It was Olivia Walker's who made the majority of Ric Flair's robes in the 80s and into the early 90s, and that was the wrestler Mr. Wrestling 2's wife.
I didn't know that.
Johnny Walker's wife, and she made his. She made Greg Valentine. She made Paul Orndorff's. They all kind of got that same velvety, heavy feel and the sequences and all that. Now, keep in mind, Flair would pay her upwards of $10,000 to $12,000 per robe.
Yeah.
And
that's in like 1980s or 90s money.
Yeah, and yeah, exactly. I mean,
but those robes now are, I think one of them actually sold for $60,000.
I got a friend of mine who bought one from Conrad Thompson, and it was a Ric Flair Olivia Walker, and it's valued at anywhere between 30 to 40 grand. I mean,
wow.
Now here's the question. Here you go, Mike. Here's a question for you. Kind of in your realm of work.
Yeah.
How do you put a price on an item that doesn't really have a market out there? I like wrestling memorabilia.
Good question. Very good. I'm proud of you, Jeff.
Well, believe it or not, I mean, like sports memorabilia, whether you consider wrestling a sport or not, I think it is, and sports entertainment, if nothing else. I think there's enough memorabilia out there that you can find comparables, and if you can't find one in the world of wrestling, you look at boxing or other sports to try and figure out, okay, this is game used jersey from LeBron James, or this is ring worn tights by so and so wrestler. So like that, you would love to find something in the same
spectrum.
Trying to evaluate, but sometimes you have to go outside and just kind of look for any comparables that you can, and then just kind of use the condition, use the rarity, if it was used in an important event, like all of those things.
Yeah, it's interesting that you say that, because my wife and I just came back from Atlantic City. We went to a car and cycle show.
Okay.
And there was a great deal of biker memorabilia there.
Mm-hmm.
An old car memorabilia, and $100 bills were being passed around like they were water.
Sure.
That's a niche market. Do you find that the niche market items, such as automobile memorabilia, wrestling memorabilia, which is certainly a niche market, do they maintain the same value market-wise as other items, or do they fall within a particular category?
Well, if it's hard to compare them to like automobile related items, because most people in America have a car. And even if you don't have a car, or maybe you just have a regular daily driver, you still see movies with the fast cars or the special cars and things like that. They build the folklore of the cars. And then there's shows on TV about picking for automobiles and motorcycles and all that kind of stuff.
Sure.
So I would say that being in if you want to call it a niche market for wrestling memorabilia, I think it's like a little island, but it's a healthy island, because the people that are into wrestling, like once you get past a certain level, it's not just a casual thing.
No, they spend some money.
Yeah.
They really do.
Yeah, they do.
And like when I go to some of these indie shows, there's the people that are performing, and they will have their tables set up, and they're selling their merch.
Yeah.
So I bet if there was a vendor who set up a table of classic wrestling merch, they could sell it. I mean, like that. Old shirts, old jackets, any of that stuff.
Well,
sure.
I mean, we got one of our guys, our local wrestlers, he'll bring a stack of magazines, old magazines, $2 to $3 a piece, and by the end of the night, he's already sold all 20 of them or whatever, just from people who just. I mean, it's a good thing that a lot of people like to flash back to those happier times and remember, or you may find that magazine or that item, or I mean, I guess what I find kind of crazy is, like, I watch American Pickers a lot.
Yeah.
And
great show.
Love that show. Great show.
And he'll find like an old Indian motorcycle part, and he'll be like, and all it is just a part.
Yeah.
And he'll be like, oh, that's a $400 piece right there.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Crazy.
I mean,
No. He spent like 30 on the show, at least. He spent like $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 on.
No, I know. No, I mean, but I'm just saying, like, certain things, like he'll like Harley parts. I guess that's what I mean. I think that, to me, it's all a matter of what's in the eye of the beholder. You, me and myself, if I had the right wrestling item placed in front of me and I had an unlimited budget, you're damn right I'm going to spend the money.
Yeah. Well, we have a place here in New Jersey called Jersey John's, and the pickers are there frequently because Jersey John is one of the few guys who has the world's largest collection of Indian motorcycles, as a matter of fact.
Oh, wow.
And it's nothing for the pickers to drop $100,000 there.
Wow.
Yeah. Now, let me ask you, Mike.
Yeah.
So you get this program, you meet Matt Paxon, you make the pitch, you click with him, so you have a pilot already. How long did it take from pilot to pickup?
Well, it took, let's say we shot the pilot in, let's say, November of 2018. And then we got the go-ahead from the production company to go ahead and film 5 more episodes, probably in, I want to say April, May.
Okay.
And then it's June. We hit the ground running. We had to find all these families.
Okay.
And scout them out, make sure that they were a good fit for the show.
That was actually going to be one of my questions. Did you search them or did they come to you?
We had to find them, and it was using our network of partners, and we just basically put the word out. Like, do you know anybody who's downsizing? Do you know anybody that's dealing with an estate or something like that? And
right.
It's crazy. One family, I don't know if it was Matt or somebody else, but somebody was pitching the show to a TV exec, and somebody was sitting at the table next to them in the restaurant and heard about what we did, and they were like, "Oh, you need to come to my family's house. We need you." They didn't actually end up being on the show, but I still helped them outside of the show, and it was
terrific.
Terrific. Yeah. No, I mean, it's pretty crazy. And, I'll just say this, I love all the different shows, Antiques Roadshow, which in Richmond, we're going to be shown at 9 p.m., which is right after Antiques Roadshow on Monday, January 20th. But right. I love Antiques Roadshow. I love American Pickers. Like, all those shows are great. And there's some other ones out there too. But the thing I want to say is our show is about telling the story of the family. Yeah.
Give everybody the layout of the show, the concept, the rundown, and we're going to, of course, plug the air date, which is January 20th. That's next Monday. Airs on PBS nationwide. So the basic layout. What separates you differently, I should say, proper English, from, let's say, a road show?
Yeah. Well, Antiques Roadshow, they'll have 30 or more people bring their items and get featured on the show. So everybody gets a minute or 2 minutes. We have one family, and we have them for 52 minutes.
The entire show is one family.
One family. And the deal is, we start off, and you maybe ask yourself, Mike, why is it called Legacy List with Matt Paxon? So the whole deal is the family is going through some sort of transition, and we're helping them get from A to B and get all of this work done, usually in some sort of time crunch, because that's just the way it goes. But
sure.
The Legacy List portion of the title comes from a list that we make with the client, so we can identify the items that are really important to them.
Okay.
So this painting that's on the wall, or my Hulk Hogan wrestling buddy. They may want more information about the item, or something to do with that. We have to make sure we take special care of it. And then there's going to be other things like, hey, we can't find grandma's wedding ring, or something else. And we've got to search through everything in the house and try and find it for them.
Wow.
And in doing that, I'm sure you develop relationships with people that extends beyond the realm of the show. Do people ever contact you off air and say, "Oh, by the way, I found this," or "We came across, Aunt Tessie's diamond ring"?
Yeah, I mean, we finished filming just I want to say in September or October. So I've stayed in touch with some of the families for sure, and I'm sure more of them will be reaching out and saying exactly what you're talking about. Hey, what about this? What about that? It's going to happen, and but the main thing is we definitely develop the relationships. A lot of times they want to adopt us into their family. They feel like we're family because we're really trying to preserve their family's history.
Yeah,
and this is the biggest thing that is a generational shift.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was going with the question about developing relationships with people. You're spending, we'll see an hour on television, but to get that hour, you spend 3, 4, 5 days with these people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you can't spend, a week with somebody and not know something intimate about them, or maybe even a quirk, or is something that put them in that position to where they have to either downsize or change, in some cases, changing their lifestyle to a less extravagant one. To your point earlier, a lot of people don't know what they have.
Yeah.
So if people don't know what they have, then how do you?
Well, like I said, I've been buying, selling, and trading collectibles and other things for the past 30 years. So
is it kind of just a feel you get?
Yeah, like it's funny. There was a house that we were in New Jersey, because we go it's not just filmed in Virginia. We go up and down the East Coast, and
Sure.
We're
at in Jersey. Anybody I know?
It was I can't remember what city it was in. It's a small little sleepy town. I'll get you the name, but it was basically it was about, I can tell you this much, it was about an hour from White Plains, New York. So it wasn't far from New York proper.
Okay.
Yeah, because White Plains is an hour out of New York. So
yeah.
I know that because my relatives are up there. But,
oh, cool.
Yeah.
I know where White Plains is for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, this family in Jersey, they we're looking through their garage, and on their legacy list, they had their items. I'm not going to spoil it, but they had their items.
Of course, sure.
And then out of the corner of my eye, I see a box of records, and how very appropriate. Jeff got a record today, but I saw Blue Note. And if anybody knows anything about jazz records, Blue Note,
absolutely,
mirror labels.
I'd say yes, sir.
Like they were like, "Oh, those old things." I'm like, "Yeah, those old things. We're gonna go get them checked out." And so, it's just this feeling you get. Like sometimes, like she had a pot. I don't know if it's in the show or not, but it was a pot from probably the '60s, Catherine Ohm. And it's mid-century modern. It's beautiful, and I'm telling her, this is money right here. And I go, what would you do with this? She goes, oh, we were probably just going to throw it away or donate it. And I said,
oh my God,
throw away $25, $50. I mean,
right.
It's up to you. But the thing I wanted to circle back to real quick was, we were talking a minute ago about relationships and everything else, and you'd asked something about valuing things and
right.
So the thing about valuing things, there's a monetary value, there's sentimental value.
Yep.
And
yeah.
We were talking about the generational shift, and the big thing that I think happened was this little square box. I think I've got one right here.
Oh, yeah.
The iPod.
Yes.
So this guy right here basically killed several generations afterwards as far as wanting stuff. They want everything to fit in here.
Yeah.
So seriously, families' histories are being thrown away because nobody wants the stuff.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that's a real mission of ours on the show, is to get the history preserved. Even if they don't want the stuff, that's fine. But let's make sure, if you don't want it, if it can make you money, let's do something good with it. It can be donated.
That may want it and appreciate the history of it.
I want my wife and sister-in-law to hear that, because we have a pile getting ready to go to the Goodwill.
Yeah, well, send me some photos. I'll see if you got any gold in there.
I got a question, Mike. You were talking albums really quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to go back to the very first concert that me and you ever went to together, and that was Guns N' Roses and Skid Row.
Yep.
Do you happen to have Guns N' Roses' Appetite for Destruction on vinyl?
Oh, yeah, sure.
I figured you would.
I want to ask people watching this on YouTube to bear with me one moment. Go ahead, continue, Jeff.
Oh, okay. No. I remember that concert that me and you went to. That was the very first one. We were there at the Hampton Coliseum. Crazy night.
Do you remember? I got trampled.
Yeah.
I thought I was gonna die.
Well, me and you, we went in together, not knowing. I mean, we were all 14, 15 years old, if that. We were with my sister and her friends, and we went there to this concert where they had stadium seating, where we didn't know what that meant. We're down there on the floor.
Yeah.
Skid Row hits, lights go down, and all of a sudden a big mosh pit breaks out. And me and Mike are split.
I don't know how many people the Coliseum held, but every single person wanted to be in the front row, and we were standing in the way. So,
and our little bodies were getting trampled, and we ended up getting split apart. It was a crazy night, but a lot of fun too, all at the same time.
Okay, I'm back. I want to tell you how much my in-laws love me. Watch this.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Revolver.
That's the Beatles Revolver. Watch this stuff.
Uh-oh.
It's on the original Parlophone label.
Yeah, very cool.
Ain't that nice?
Great record. I mean, hopefully it's in good shape. Yeah, that's awesome, man.
It's mint.
That is awesome.
What would something like that fetch? It's not for sale, by the way, but.
Well, here's the thing about Beatles records. They, I don't know if you remember this, but you could whether it was Columbia House or any of the other services, you could buy Beatles records. You could buy them today, brand new.
Yeah.
Of the old pressing, new pressings of the old records. And so there are hundreds, if not thousands, of different versions of each of those records.
Yeah.
So it's weird. One little number etched different in the run-out groove or on the label makes a huge difference.
Sure.
Now, if you had the Butcher Baby cover of yesterday,
oh man, that's a rarity.
That's a super rare. Yeah, I mean, if you have one of those, you're talking, good money.
Oh, big time, sure. Yeah, that was such a limited pressing when they realized the backlash. They stopped all the pressings and redesigned the cover.
Did you know about that, Jeff?
No, go ahead.
Yeah, so the Beatles, they were at a point in their career where they were just like, we're going to do what we want. And the cover of the record was, the original cover was the Beatles sitting, and they were holding baby dolls and butchered meat. Okay.
Okay.
And they thought that would be a great idea.
Yesterday and today.
Yeah, yesterday and today. So they were holding, baby dolls and butchered meat, and it hit the shelves maybe for 10 minutes, and then the stores started saying, "No way, send it back." And so it was recalled, and what they did, the label, instead of reprinting covers, they just glued on a new picture on top of it.
Right over top of it.
What?
So, yeah. So there's a way to tell if
true.
you've got one of those original covers by looking, because sometimes you can see, I think it's, I don't know if it's Ringo's sweater, but there's something like his tie or a sweater on the certain part of the record, and you'll know really conclusively that you've got one of those.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
That's crazy.
That's a super rare, valuable find.
yeah.
So the show hits the air Monday night, January 20th. What time is it? 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock?
Well, it's actually showing in other parts of the country right now, but in Richmond, Virginia, it's premiering this coming Monday at 9 p.m. And
Okay.
yeah, it's crazy, man, absolutely crazy.
So what kind of early feedback are you getting? People seem to like the show?
Yeah, man, we had a event this past Saturday at a historic movie theater here in Richmond. It's called The Bird, and we didn't know if anybody would show up really, but we packed that place.
I was gonna say it looked like y'all
had
heard
about
so,
and
yeah.
I did some silly
Good.
videos and stuff, but I'm sitting there in the crowd watching it for the first time, just like everybody else. Now I was there. Okay, I'm still tearing up, and I'm a total mark. Like, come on, I'm there. I'm watching myself, and the other team members, Matt, Jamie, and Avi, and the family. And there's these history pods that pop up, and these look backs that really they go into a deeper dive into the history behind what we're talking about.
Right.
But, I swear, man, like it was an emotional roller coaster for everybody that was there, and
no doubt, I'm sure it was. Well, I'll tell you what, we wish you the best with the show. You are welcome on this podcast anytime to discuss anything you wish, including wrestling, if you feel like it.
Well, yeah, you know what, guys, I give you a lot of credit. I would love to come back because I would love to talk to you, Angelo, about my wife, CO. She definitely is a medium.
Well, I'll tell you what. Let's do this, Jeff. Why don't we do this, Jeff?
Yeah.
Why don't we make this show an extended edition? So we won't sign off. We'll continue a little bit.
Okay, go ahead.
Are you okay with that, Mike? You got the time to do that?
I'm good.
Go for it.
Yeah, I mean, I've been with my wife for 17 years now, basically, and 16 years. We've been married, the vast majority of those years, and long and short of it is, over the past 5 to 7 years, she's really been developing her gifts, and so now I will say that. She comes from a different culture. She was born in South Korea, and in their culture, there's a lot of acceptance for shamanism and
absolutely,
viewpoints and
it's a very spiritually based culture for those people that are unfamiliar with the Korean lifestyle. Everything is based around spirit.
Yeah,
it's very important. It's spirit is tantamount to them what breakfast is to us. It's part of their daily routine.
So the long and short of it is she has it's been a really interesting thing to observe from my perspective, but she has had conversations with my mom after she passed, and all of these, like, she gets these feelings and intuitions about certain things.
Right.
She works with people to help them. Like they say, this is my goal. This is what I want to do.
Right.
And she helps get their energy all moving in that direction and help them realize their dreams and goals through that.
Right.
But,
that's why I said to you earlier, that you didn't find the pilot found you. Yeah, you were really, I really feel like you were divinely inspired for it. The other thing, when you mentioned your wife's gifts, would your wife mind you talking about her particular gifts?
No, I don't believe she'd have a problem with it.
Okay, so what does she practice? What is her forte?
A lot of energy work. And
okay.
Then, like she.
Does she do Reiki healing?
I believe she does.
Okay.
A little bit, but she doesn't do much of it if she does. I'll tell you a couple of stories that might help illustrate what she did. Like I said, she had conversations with my mom after my mom passed, and the things she would say, there's no way that she would have known otherwise.
And we call that mediumship.
Yes, absolutely. And she was getting to the point where spirits of her friends spirits of friends or family members of friends that had passed were coming to her, and she would have to say, she had a technique for saying, I'm clocked out right now. I'm shut off.
Yeah, you have to.
You're going to have to come back another time and we'll talk about this. And
I'm glad you mentioned that, Mike. I'm going to stop you there for a second, because people have asked me over the years, how do you turn it off? Can you turn it off? It took me years to learn how to turn it off. Wow. I mean, I would literally be woken up in the middle of the night and have to call somebody about something.
I had that happen. She would tell me all of these things.
Yeah. It's really important that she give herself that time, that space.
Oh, she's not afraid to.
No, you have to be bold, because I will tell you, spirit is persistent.
Yeah.
It really is.
No, I believe me. I see it. I mean, she was.
Imagine this, Mike. You got, when spirit knows, I liken it to the ice cream man. Okay. And I'll explain why. When the ice cream man comes down the street, you have one kid runs to the truck. Well, the truck's going to stay there until everybody else runs to the truck.
Yeah.
That's how spirit is. If it knows that you're communicating, it's like, hey, guys, he can see us. He can hear us. Exactly. A very good way to put it. We got one.
It's absolutely amazing. So I'll tell you another story, and this one's very recent. So my wife has been going to Korea to study with a shaman, and she went this past year for about a month. And that whole time wasn't spent with the shaman, but she has been working with the shaman off and on for quite a while.
Right.
So she was planned. Let's say she was scheduled to leave America to go to Korea on October 17th. That's not really the date, but I'm just saying.
Right. Sure.
All right. So October 17th. She got a message saying that she needed to be at her uncle's gravesite on the 17th because there was going to be a celebration.
Right.
And she was like, well, that's really weird. And then I think she had known outside of this that her uncle was a hero for democracy, and that led to his death back in the day. But now he's treated as a hero, and he's basically buried in kind of like the Arlington Cemetery of South Korea.
Right.
So it turns out that she was going along with it, and she changed her date from leaving from the 17th to like the 15th, whatever.
Terrific.
So she goes there, and I think she was told she needed to be there at like 9:00 in the morning.
Right.
And so she gets there, she's waiting around, and there's no sign of anybody. And you think if there's going to be a celebration, there's probably got to be some people there.
Yeah.
Well, she says, I'm going to wait for half an hour and see what happens. 28 minutes later, she's getting ready to leave.
Right.
Her cousin, who she hadn't seen in over 20 years, had no way to contact, walks up, and they instantly recognized each other, and they spent a few days together.
That's beautiful.
It's insane.
I love stories like that.
Yeah, you couldn't, like, the odds, there's no way the odds could work out that way otherwise.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's a amazing story.
Now, I tell people that you'll never have to worry about looking for spirit. It'll find you.
Well, I'll tell you, Angelo,
spirit is like water that seeks its own level.
There you go. Yeah, I mean, I've had some things happen in my life where I thought, maybe I have some sort of psychic gift or something. When I was,
This for you, brother. We do. We all have a psychic gift. You can call it intuition. You can call it gut instinct. I don't care what name you give it. We're all connected on this ethereal level.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? It's to whatever degree you are willing to spend the time and the energy devoted to it, developing it, as to what connection you make. Your wife has clearly dedicated a considerable amount of time and energy to it, and she's seeing the benefits and reaping the rewards of it.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and I'll tell anybody, and Jeff knows this, because he's seen it for himself and for friends of his. If I do my job right, you'll only need me one time.
Yep.
There you go. Yeah, like I've had dreams like people died, and then I woke up the next day and found out somebody had passed away in the night. I've had dreams where I'm out hunting for things like records or CDs, and like I have in my mind like some random band that I may not have even listened to recently, but I would be like, for some reason it's coming into my head.
Like that, guys. And
then I find it amongst thousands of CDs or thousands of records.
Right.
And then, I actually had a dream that we got picked up for season 2 of the show.
Yeah, I can see that happening.
Well, I certainly hope so. But I have a dream. I'm waiting to see if that one comes true. But I think it was a strong dream. I'll just say that.
I think that there's validation to that, and I'll validate it for you. I could easily see a season 2. I had a friend of mine that does a ghost hunting show.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. And it's his first time out. And he called me and said, what do you think? Is there going to be a season 3? Will they cancel us after 2 or we'll be there at 3? I said, there's going to be a 3 and a 4 and a 5. Plan on doing at least 8 seasons.
Wow.
Sure enough, 8 seasons later, there you go.
That is awesome.
I'll share a personal story with you since you were kind enough to share a personal story with me.
Yeah.
I spoke to my sister 2 days before she passed, actually a day and a half before she passed.
Okay.
I rarely record my phone calls.
Mm-hmm.
But for some reason, Spirit told me to record that call. I knew that would be the last time I talked to her.
Oh, man.
And when my wife woke me up that Friday morning, August the 3rd, 2018, and said my sister had passed, it didn't come as a surprise to me, but what happened was an overwhelming sense of peace came on me. Because I knew she didn't have to live in the situation she was living in. She was a double amputee in a loveless marriage with a man that was, to be kind, he was an asshole.
Wow.
Okay? And it took my parents up until this year for my words to resonate with them.
Okay.
And it still hurts, of course, it's their daughter, but she was my sister.
Yeah.
But I know that the family now has an angel watching over us. My father, who should have been 3 or 4 times dead already, is an ornery bastard who keeps on kicking because he's got my sister that's a fighter watching over him.
There you go.
And I believe that. And does it hurt that I can't see her physically? Yes. But I close my eyes and I see her and I hear her laugh and I hear her voice. So those people who experience physical loss, I tell them this, and it's as simple as it gets. The body is human. It's meant to die. when the body falls, the spirit rises. And we're all connected on a spirit level. That's why, how many times, Mike, has this happened to you? Mm-hmm. You're sitting watching TV and you have this feeling there's going to be a knock at the door or your phone's going to ring. And right after you think that, the phone rings or there's a knock at the door.
Oh, yeah, I've had that. I used to be able, yeah, I've had plenty of stuff like that happen. Yeah.
That's called precognition, brother, and that's a spirit gift. And we all have it. That's why I tell everybody, what I'm doing is nothing different than what you can do if you are willing to spend the time and devote the energy to it.
Yeah.
This is, I've been fortunate. I've been like this since I was 6 years old.
Wow.
Okay. And how? I don't know. Why? I don't know. That's the hard question to answer. How and why? I don't know. I just know that I have a gift.
About who cares? It's like,
well, for me, it's who cares.
Yeah.
Like people make a big deal. They go,
yeah.
I don't even like the word psychic, to be honest with you. I prefer to be considered spiritual on all levels. But, people like labels and they have to put labels to you. So you're a psychic.
Yeah. Whatever. I think people probably they wish it was something like getting bit by a radioactive spider, where it's just one quick event that changes you forever.
Yeah, that magically all of a sudden, poof.
Well, the show is Legacy List. The host is Matt Paxon. The evaluator, I will call him the stuff guy.
Yeah, I go by stuff.
Mike Kelleher, the king of stuff.
My childhood best friend.
Yeah. And so Jeff, as we sign off, let us give everybody our cheap plugs. Mike, let's plug your social media. Where can people reach you? How can they get a hold of you?
Or the show.
Or the show. Yes.
I'm sorry.
Or the show.
Yeah. So if you go to your local PBS website, you can find Legacy List with Matt Paxton through that. Also on Instagram, and there's Legacy List TV. And, I just really appreciate you guys having me on. Like, this has been great.
You've been an amazing guest. Amazing guest.
Come on.
Oh, no, terrific. Really. I have to have you back.
Oh, yeah. I would love to, because there's still plenty more. I've got 2 pages of notes here that, I can't prepare.
Those notes. Do not lose those notes. I promise you I will make you use them.
Jeff's getting really worried right now.
What are you remembering? Hang on. I got to know. Just give me one little tidbit off of there.
Yeah.
Little tidbit. Okay.
One little tidbit. All right. Well, Jeff, I'm going to ask you a question. I'm going to interview you for just a quick second.
Uh-oh.
So, at what point, do you remember the point in your wrestling life that you started appreciating a good heel?
Oh, man.
Good question.
Because I remember we were big marks for Hogan and Sting.
Oh yeah, we were definitely babyface heavy growing up. I would say it wasn't until probably I was about 16 or so, and then I could appreciate the cockiness and everything that Ric Flair was and what he represented.
I don't know if you guys can see this, but right there, I said, I think it's Ric Flair.
Yeah. So it was
in black and white.
Yeah. It was probably, Flair was always one who, even as a kid, I wanted to boo and hate because I was a Dusty and a Ricky Morton fan. But deep down inside, who didn't want to be that cocky guy who had all the women and everything else? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. So we were really into baby faces, and then at a certain point, I know that we were heavy 4 Horsemen.
Well, you know what it was about Ric Flair? He brought cool to being bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he was
he made it cool to be a heel.
Yeah. I mean,
all right, Jeff, what's going on with Vanguard?
VCW, we got a show coming up February 1st at the Norfolk Masonic Temple. Billy Gunn, Gangrel, Brandon Scott, and Ken Dixon in a 4-way to decide who faces Gino March the 14th.
Wow.
At the Hampton High School. And real quick, we also have a final number for what we did for the fundraiser. We raised $3,400 for that local high school wrestling.
Oh, beautiful, for their wrestling program.
That was really good. And of course, everybody can find them at Vanguard Championship Wrestling on Facebook, vcw-wrestling.com. Go buy your tickets. And we're also, for the first time ever, allowing you to reserve your ringside seats and where you want to sit. So
terrific.
That's
all right. So we got Vanguard out the way. Let me give everybody the heads up on Dog Championship Wrestling. The next show is February 24th in Little Egg Harbor Township, New Jersey. It's Battle Brawl. Breaker Morant defends his title against a mystery opponent to be named that night.
Wow.
Never before has that happened. We will have J.J. Dillon. Teddy Hart will be on hand. Davey Boy Smith Jr. will be there.
Whoa.
We have a special battle royal and a strap match, a lumberjack strap match.
Whoa.
First time in Dog.
That's
February 24th in Little Egg Harbor, New Jersey. You can find our show everywhere across the planet. We are on iHeartRadio, iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play Music, Podbean, and the video format is available on YouTube. You can reach us at wrestlingwiththefuture@yahoo.com. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/wrestlingwiththefuture and on Twitter at WrestlingFuture. And if there's nothing else, Jeff, from you, anything else?
No, I'm good to go.
And Mike Kelleher, anything else from you, Mike?
You know, I don't want to keep you guys, but there was one other thing I wanted to talk about.
Go for it.
All right. I'm straight edge. Triple H straight edge. I actually came up with a list of wrestlers that you may not realize are straight edge. But number one, what do you guys think about Punk coming back for this commentary type role? He was on Backstage, and
I think CM Punk's going to be in the ring for you know it.
Well, that was my next question: is what are the odds that it may be Royal Rumble as a surprise entrant?
I don't know that we'll.
Well, you know, Jeff, there is a history between Brock and Punk.
Yeah.
I could.
That's where I'm going with it, Mike.
I could see them possibly pulling him in at number 30.
That's exactly where I'm going, Jeff. Thank you.
I can see Brock.
How over would he be at that point? Like, how big a pop would that be?
Huge. That would be
a Richter scale big enough to describe what the arena would do if he comes out.
If
they will lose their shit. They're straight up.
I'll say this: if they do that, and they do it if they make him number 30, and Brock has gone through all 29, whatever.
Imagine, Jeff.
What's that?
Could you imagine?
Oh, dude, that would be the shot in the arm that WWE needs right now to go into WrestleMania.
They need it huge. And I got news for you. Think about who they're bringing back. Every time their numbers go down, Jeff, Mike, every time their numbers go down, they bring back an Austin, an Edge. They bring back an Undertaker.
Well, they just brought back Big Show.
They bring back their tried and trues.
By the way, do you think it was a little premature to bring back Sheamus instead of having him come out at Rumble?
I think it was way premature.
Yeah.
What
they did was they tipped their hat. And
I would have left him until Royal Rumble. I would have brought back John Morrison like they did. I mean,
I got for you. I'll go one step further, Jeff. I think they could have left Sheamus or Morrison till Mania.
The thing is when you got them sitting in the back,
far off though.
No. But when you got them like in the back burner and the fans know it, they're kind of itching and waiting.
You just said something important. You just said something important.
Oh, I think I know where you're going.
On the back burner, and the fans know it. That's my problem. The fans are too damn smart.
They watch great podcasts like this one.
Yeah, but Jeff knows we don't tip the hat over here.
I'm just kidding. But
yeah, no, we
could call this show Spoiler Alert.
Yeah,
because I got inside tracks on so much stuff that I haven't even spoken about yet.
Oh wow.
Same here. I mean, like, just the people that we know in general in the business, it would. I mean, and you know, but half of what they hear is, you know, or half of what you hear, you got to take with a grain of salt. I mean, it's.
Well, you got to worry how much they're being worked, how much they're being swerved.
I mean,
there's a lot of smoke and mirrors going on when put out by the organizations just to kind of make sure somebody is always guessing. But I'll tell you what, man. Like, I don't even know. Like, I was a big CM Punk fan. I don't know if I want him to come back, but it would be huge if he did.
Even for a one shot, you know.
I think if he's rested. I'll say this. For somebody who swore that he hated everything WWE and never wanted anything to do with it, and yeah, he may be under a Fox's contract.
Yeah.
But I'm sure the right amount of money can make anybody do anything.
Well, he surely wasn't making enough money in the UFC, so
there you go. No. Well, and you know, here's a scenario. How big of a pop is it going to be if AJ Lee comes out for the
wait. Royal? AJ is Punk's money.
There you go. But
exactly. AJ is his money.
If AJ comes out during the women's battle royal, makes her grand reappearance, whether she wins or not, that crowd is going to be already buzzing and hoping he's getting ready to hit. And all of a sudden you hear that opening riff of Cult of Personality, done, gonzoed. That place, roof is coming off that joint. I mean, they are
absolutely.
Where is Rumble this year?
What's that?
Where is Rumble?
I want to say I think it's Houston.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, you know, I can't wait to see it, but I feel like Rumble just kind of snuck up out of nowhere, to be honest.
I agree. Normally, by this time, they have hyped it and hyped it and hyped it to where you're kind of like itching for it to happen.
Worth of hype.
Yeah.
4 to 6 weeks. I know they what was the last pay-per-view? God, I can't remember.
TLC.
But TLC. Okay. So it's usually like right after that. They've already forgotten about TLC in full bore. Can I just say one thing? I am really kind of upset with how they're working Liv Morgan's angle.
Yeah, I get it. I know a lot of people were hoping that she was going to come out with Bray.
Oh, really? Was that the thought?
That was, internet scuttlebutt. I mean, that's just what scuttlebutt was.
It has to be true if you heard it on the net.
Well, yeah.
I was just like what a lot of fans are hoping and speculating.
Right.
I'm okay with the the whole Lana, Bobby Lashley. It may
I don't
not
care so much about that. I just really loved her as that kind of what was the character from Suicide Squad that?
Oh the Harley Quinn.
Harley Quinn,
yeah.
Like, that was such a great angle for her. Like, that was a perfect character. When she came back, saying she was a new person, I thought of, God, I'm drawing blanks on names. The Australian female wrestler that came back.
What's her name? The little girl who did the dance.
Yeah. She was, she got busted.
She's Tennille Dashwood up in ROH. Is who she is now.
I was worried it was going to be.
I can't help you on that one, fellas. I'm out of the loop.
Anyway, yeah. No, but I thought that was because they had her in the bathtub and all that. That I thought that's where they were going with it too. But WWE creative, none of us will ever understand because we're not there.
Yeah.
And unfortunately,
for you guys, if you don't know me, I'm terrible with names. But the female wrestler who was the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, she was Muay Thai fighter in
Sonya Deville.
Sonya Deville. I thought was going to be the one to come through for that lesbian storyline.
She was she's the one who pitched it because she's actually a legit lesbian.
Yeah.
But I think that was part of what they didn't want that. They didn't want it.
They were looking for
shock value. This is not anything I've read, nothing I've heard. My own take. I don't think that they wanted it to look like an angle when that's who she legit is. Versus Liz Morgan, who's not a legit lesbian to everybody's knowledge, and her to be playing one versus somebody who is a legit one.
Yeah,
acting like you're one, and then it's like, okay, are you poking fun at what you have really built up? Because she is a big hero.
It's like I said, Jeff. They're looking for the shock value.
Yeah,
they are, but they couldn't go with
shock value.
Yeah, and they couldn't go with Sonya because she's legit a lesbian. So it's kind of like, I think it was kind of, what, Mike, let me ask you this. Are you going to be busy Wednesday night, this Wednesday?
Wednesday
tomorrow.
Night. I don't know. Why?
I would love to have you come on with me and Mike, another guy named Mikey. His name is Mike Messier. And another guy. We're going to be doing more or less like a wrestling roundtable internet wrestling talk.
Okay.
Would you be game?
What time is it?
We're 7:30.
7:30? I might be able to work that, yeah. Let
me know. I would love to have you come on and be a part of it because you definitely got a different take than even they got. I mean, on it. And Angelo's actually going to let me referee that one, and he's going to just sit in the back.
Speaking of referee, let me ask you a question there, ref. Do you have a ref shirt?
Not one that fits.
Okay. I'm giving you orders. Get a ref shirt.
If I could find one that fits, I would love to find one.
If I have to buy you one, I'm going to buy you one.
If you can find one online, let me know. Because I have looked.
Because I want you to host a show from now on in a ref shirt.
I would. I more than love to.
Excellent idea.
Okay. Now, speaking of surprises and shock and awe, we have an amazing lineup of guests coming up. Starting with this week, we have from World Class Championship Wrestling, the Perfect 10, Tully Blanchard's Perfect 10 Baby Doll, coming on Thursday. Baby Doll gets a round of applause. We've got next week. We have that's a full week, brother. We've got Jimmy Valiant, the Boogie Woogie Man. We've got Ron Starr. We have among the people coming up, Rico Costantino, Cowboy Johnny Mantell, Cowboy Jody West. We're going to do a show on Cowboys. We got Cowboy Tyrant Eric Dawson coming on. We have, let's see, we got Soraya Knight, Paige's mom, coming on the show. We have Ladies Night coming.
We got an enhancement guy, Bob Cook.
We got Bob Cook and Bill Pierce from WWF coming on the show. Evan Ginsberg is coming back.
Mr. Electricity, Steve Regal.
Steve Regal will be here.
Regal, wow.
We have, again, Ladies Night. I believe Grimlina will join us. We will have Casey Carlisle. I believe we will also have, we may actually have, Jeff, this is a surprise to you tonight, we may actually have Leilani Kai. I heard from Leilani Kai today. And if she can work it out, she will be on the show.
And Princess Victoria is a possibility.
It looks like 95% right now. Yeah. Just waiting for Grimmy to work out the details, but for sure, I believe Roxy will join us from Glow.
Everybody know, I mean, Princess Victoria was probably the original WWF Women's World Tag Team Champion. She was only in the business for a little over 2 years.
But made a very impactful presence.
She did. And she's actually in the Cauliflower Alley. and really, really good legacy there. So, I mean, we got a very, I mean, the month of
stacked.
Yeah, from the end of this month into next that we got all this, and we do have Jason up coming up too.
Jason's coming back, the toy collectible guy.
Yeah,
we've got of course, our friend, actor, filmmaker, director, producer, writer, Mike Messier.
That's tomorrow night, Mike Messier.
Tomorrow night.
Yeah,
and Mike will be, Mike will be Mike. What to expect when you got Mike on the show?
Yeah,
that's how we are.
I think we're at the point where we're going to say goodnight to everybody.
Yes, sir.
And once again, Mike Kelleher, thank you for joining us on the show. The show is Legacy List, hosted by Matt Paxon and Mike Kelleher, and a team of appraisers and stuff people.
I'm the stuff expert.
You're the stuff expert. There's Jeff the ref you'll see his pretty face tomorrow night. On behalf of Wrestling with the Future, we will see you at the matches. Good night, everybody, and happy wrestling.
Goodbye, everyone.
Excelsior.